What's up, everybody? We back with another video, man. I love everybody that went crazy on my last video of me talking about the dark sides of success. If you haven't seen that video already, head over and watch that video. Read the comments. I've seen a lot of people that can relate to it, but that's not me trying to doom and gloom you guys out of the business, because I love this business and I think everybody should try a stab at e-commerce and see if they love it too as well, and stick with it if they do love it. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about what brands should be doing come 2025 to succeed, or what I think they should be doing, at least. You know what I'm saying? If you think they should be doing something else, go ahead, comment that down in the video, but this is what I think they should be doing. That's if you started a brand in 2024 and you're ready to turn up in 2025 even more, as you should, or if you're planning to start a brand in 2025, these videos is going to be about what I think you should be doing. And I said these videos because this is going to be part of a 3-part series, my first ever 3-part series, or any series on videos. So this is going to be the first part of the series, and I'm going to do 2 more videos as well right before 2025 even we start 2025, just to get everybody ready for 2025. All right. Without further ado, what I think brands should be doing in 2025 to succeed. First thing first, if you're starting a brand in 2025, or if you already had a brand, let's say if you already had a brand prior to 2024, or in 2024 you started one thing I want a lot of people to start doing is writing down what works. So if you're starting your brand in 2025, write down what works. If you already have a brand, self-reflect. I've been self-reflecting for the last 2 weeks now, as we wind down the year after Black Friday, just seeing what worked, what I think we need to work on and stuff like that. And I feel like everybody should do that, because there's always room for growth. Don't be that guy that think you got it all figured out, or it's not going to work out for you and you need to do X, Y, and Z for it to work out. But there has been things that you've done that work. Let's say you posted something and it went a little bit more viral than normal, or let's just say you did something or worked with someone or anything and it did better than other things that you've done. That's why I'm always big on brands dropping. I'm always big on brands staying consistent and putting themselves out there, even if like their drop didn't do well, do another drop. Because the more drops you have, the more data you can use to see what's working and what's not working. You know what I'm saying? And when you do find something that works, write it down. Even when you find something that don't work, write it down, like, oh, this didn't work because I did this. Oh, I dropped on Thursday. Or I dropped too early. Or I didn't send my SMS out on time. Because we need to self-reflect. Because everybody is focused on their memory. And your memory is not the best thing. Like, over time, your memory starts to deteriorate. I don't care how young you are, how old you are. So write it down. Even if you don't write it down manually, just voice memo it, or write it down in your notes app, or have Siri write it. You have AI that can write for you now. So like, just jot down things that work. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. And then we're gonna get into the video. So the one thing I've seen a lot of brands this year that I feel like we need to work better on is putting in more effort and focus on your marketing. I feel like that's the one thing that's going to grow a lot of brands in 2025 and beyond, if they focus and lock in on their marketing. And what I mean by that, I don't mean just Instagram ads and paying ads and running it. Like, really focus on the vision and the visuals for your brand. Like, really focus on how you present your brand, because a lot of people are just doing the on the ground shots or just wrinkled shirts, and I've talked about that before in other videos, and just not really putting a lot of effort in, because the more effort you put in, the better the result most of the time. So I'm gonna show you examples what I mean by that, because like, every time I say marketing, people think of like just get too complex and be like, I need to do this, I need to pay for that. And that's not the case. To simplify marketing for everybody on here, all you have to think about is, how can I get more eyes on my brand every day? Just think about that simple concept. How can I get more eyes on my brand? Like, for me, when I was coming up, Instagram ads just had started, but like not everybody was doing it. And the best way you could get more eyes on your brand is to get it on the most popping artists at the time. Like, and I live in Atlanta, so it was a lot of popping artists. This was like when I started my brand when like 21 Savage first popped out, Playboy Cardi just started rapping, Broke Boy just dropped. So like, one of the first placements I had is I got one of my hoodies on Playboy Cardi in the studio. And the way I got that is, one of my friends was a photographer and he was shooting Cardi that night. So I gave him 2 hoodies. I gave him one for himself and I gave him one to give Cardi. And he took a picture of it, and I kid you not, I posted that picture, and I had like 10 sales the first day, 20 sales the next day. And this before Cardi was Cardi now. And this when he just like, only people on SoundCloud only knew him. He was like super underground. He could still walk around and stuff like that. I didn't even think he had locks in yet. Like, this is super early. So that's one thing I was just so obsessive on earlier in my career, is like, how can I get more eyes on my brand? How am I presenting my brand? So let me show you guys a few examples of what I mean by that. All right, guys. So we are over here on this IG brand. Well, let me not say IG brand. Clothing brand called Badson. They have 234,000 followers, but do not let that scare you. And they're in a small city in Utah as well. I forgot the city, but they're in a small city. So for all the people that's out there in small cities, use this brand as inspiration that you can go up no matter where you are. Okay? So when I say we need to start presenting our brands better and showing it better, like when they first started, they literally just had a really good product. Like they had different products and they just had it on black backgrounds. Like literally just had it on black backgrounds, and it was doing on the ground shots like this. And over time, they developed their style and started using models. I think when it comes to showing clothes off these days, we have to start using models. Like, just so people can see how it fits, just so people can see how they can pair it with their own outfits, just so people can see like even the quality. Or let's say you have a jacket that's waterproof or rainproof. We need to be showing these things, putting a little bit more effort, because just the on the ground shot, like for this is a perfect product. So this on the ground shot alone was cool. You know what I'm saying? These lay flats were cool. But when they took it to the next step, and now I can see models is wearing it, they're not just doing on the ground shots, they're doing model shots too as well. So like a lot of people think you have to do either or, and we need to start thinking in and. Like, okay, you could do lay ground flats and have models in it. And a lot of people be like, oh, I don't have no friends, I don't have anybody. Like, that's just another excuse. I want a lot of people in 2025 and beyond, stop giving yourself an excuse to your problem and try to find the solution first. Before you even give yourself an excuse, find two solutions. So if it was me and I don't have any friends and I don't have nobody I can use to model, and I don't have enough money to get people to model, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going places. I'm going to go to a thrift store. I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go on Instagram or whatever the case is, and just ask people like, yo, you want a model? And it might be somebody that's not even a model, but I just think they're cool, and I'm using what I have. If you don't have friends, if you have family members, cousins, like me, I grew up the only child, so I didn't have siblings I could use, but I had friends because I went to college. You know what I'm saying? So I could use them. Or like we gotta find, there's people you can find that'll do it for free or just for free clothes, you know what I'm saying? And just build a rapport with those people when it comes to that. Like, we have to stop using excuses. But one thing I love about this brand right here in particular, like, their product always been fire. Don't get me wrong. It's always been fire. But over time, they like strayed away from like the lay flats solely and just started doing way more cooler like shoots and stuff like that. Like oh my God, like look at this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just got cooler and cooler, and it's just like you could see them putting in more effort into their brand. It's not just the same thing over and over. And I'm the same way. Like, if it works, don't fix it. I used to be super lazy, just throw it on the ground. But now I'm like, okay, we're in a more competitive space. There's new brands every day. What am I going to do to stand out? And one thing that we can do as people, or people that start in brands or already have brands, is put in a lot more effort. You know what I'm saying? Just put in a lot more effort, and the end product and the end result and the reaction we want is going to be a lot better. Like, look at this. You know? And one thing I want a lot of people to start doing is, like, I know a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to copy them, I don't want to take this, or whatever the case is. Like, if you take their designs, by all means, you're stealing. But if you use them as inspiration of like, okay, I could do a shoot like this, I could do it like that, you know what I'm saying, just to present my brand better, that's one thing. You know what I'm saying? That's different. That's a whole nother thing. If you like, oh, I'm going to do these cargos and I'm going to throw flowers on it just like how they did, that's stealing. But if I'm like, oh, I like how they did this photo, I like this setting, I'm going to set something up very similar for my brand. I don't think that's stealing. And over time, you're developing your eye on how You're developing your eye how to present your brand and stuff like that. Like, it just looks visually appealing, you know? And let me go to another brand, and I study a lot of brands. That's another thing that we have to start doing a lot more of, just studying other brands and doing things, just seeing like what works and don't work. Because one thing I see a lot of people say, like, hey, I don't have any friends, I don't have anybody that trying to do a brand thing like this. I just pay for a mentorship, and that's your only way of learning of having a brand. Like, you really have to get in the field, you have to get in the trenches, like you have to do so many things and see what works and what don't work. And that's why I'm like, yo, make sure you write down what work and what don't work and stick to what work. Cause like over time, staying consistent, that's how you build an avalanche. A small snowball could be a big boulder, you know what I'm saying? But you have to keep on pushing it downhill, and staying consistent over time. So this is another brand right here, Deputy Department. It's from, I believe they're from Germany. I think the people in Europe are killing it right now. They killed it all 2024, and I think they're gonna continue to kill it come 2025 because they put a lot of effort in, you know. Because you gotta think the European brands are going up against like the European streetwear brands, even though we are too, but they're going up against the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons and the Balenciagas because they get made in the same cities. They get made in Europe, you know. So they're heavy on quality. They're heavy on pieces, not just printables and stuff like that. One thing I love about this brand, they go outside a lot. You know, they have like a lot of outside events and activations and pop-ups. I think that's really cool. When you start to build a community with your brand, I think that's something everyone should do. They have like just like them, they had the lay flats, and then they just started doing creative shoots over time. You know, like I'm just like, oh wow, this is so cool. They're just presenting their brand in different ways. You know, Kyoto Department Collection this Saturday. Like they're just presenting their brand in different ways, like putting in a lot more effort. And like I said, everybody's gonna think, oh, maybe I should only do model shoots. It's not an either or thing, guys. It's an and. I should do this and this. You know what I'm saying? But put in a lot more effort just to visually show your brand, like, cause you like I see a lot of people just throw something on the ground and run an ad on it and be like, yo, my ad's not working. But does that ad look visually appealing? Does it look like something you would click on? And most people are going to say yes because they don't know what looks good, and that's fine. But that's why we study. That's why we look at what's working. If you want to get somewhere you haven't been, you have to do things you haven't done to get there. Because the same thing that you're doing that's not working is not going to get you to the same next level. That's insanity. So, like, that's why I'm like, guys, we have to put in more effort, especially if you want people to spend their money with you. Like, I'm tired of seeing people with on-the-ground shots and the shirts are wrinkled. It just looks terrible. Like, it just looks terrible. Like, shadows all over it. Like, you can't see the design. Like, who told you this looked good? Like, you thought this really looked good? And you know what we need to start doing? Start showing it to your parents or elders. Like, elders will tell you the truth. Like, our friends, they don't want to hurt our feelings, but like an adult, they don't give a damn. Because they like, hey, I don't like how that look. But if you know what I'm saying? That's a tip. I don't know. But also just study other brands and seeing how they're doing things. And like, I'm not saying steal their designs. I'm just saying study how they even do their captions. Study how, when they're dropping, how they're doing their sign up for early access, what products are they doing, you know what I'm saying? So you can see trends. Like, for instance, 2024 was the year of the cargos, the cargo jorts. Like the jorts, it was the year of the jorts, but you seen the cargo jorts, then you saw the camo cargo jorts, and everybody was doing the baggy jorts. It was the year for that. You know what I'm saying? It was the year for that. I think 2025 is going to be the year of the beanie. A lot of people are doing beanies. Beanies does really well for us. I think that's a good product that's going to go crazy next year. Pin this and let's see. I don't know. I can't read the future, but that's what I think might go crazy next year. I don't know. But yeah, we really have to study. I really love this brand. I really like this brand. And you can see their development over time. The next brand I'm gonna go into is Basket Case Gallery. Like, oh my god, their brand just seems like one big mood board. It just seems like a whole big mood board of like nothing is ever the same. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, nothing is like ever the same. Like, It's just one big mood board. And I'm just showing this brand for like brands that you can like brands that you can find and study and look at how they're doing things. Cause it's like where do you want to be? And I know a lot of people like, yo, I want to be the next Virgil, I want to be the next this, and it's like nothing you're doing aligns with what he did or like how to get to that level. You know what I'm saying? So like I tell people that all the time. Like the brands that you study, make sure it's a brand that you will like at least 1% of their success. Like for me, like I study Supreme a lot because if I can get 1% of Supreme success, like that'll be fire for me. So that's one thing I tell people. And I look at these other brands. If I can get, like some of these brands are probably on the same level as, but like just far as how they present it, if I can get 1% of like their how they present it in their marketing and their genius and stuff like that, I won't be mad. But I know for me, it's literally just putting in more effort. And I know for a lot of you guys, it's putting in more effort. And in 2025, that's one thing I want a lot of people to start doing. Like, put in more effort, especially if you want people to spend their money with you, Especially if that's one thing you want. Like, I want people to start spending more money with me. I want more customers. I want more community and stuff like that. But you're putting in low effort. Like, make it make sense. Like, do more to get more. That's what I believe. And that's key, those are the things I think we need to focus on in 2025 to grow your brand. So part 1, write down everything. Write down what's working, write down what's not working. Part 2, put in more effort into what you're doing with your brand, from designing to presenting. Part 3, don't just do on the ground shots. Do on the ground and models wearing it. Because you want to show your customers how it fits on body, how it lays, and how they can style it. Because that's just giving them more ways like, oh, it look cool on the ground, on bite. Oh, that's fire. I like how it drapes like that. You know what I'm saying? You want to show people all these things right there. And that's just putting in more effort. And you take that and use it for your marketing. Use it for your Instagram Reels. Use it for your IG ads. But put in more effort, guys. I can't stress that enough. Come 2025 and beyond. Don't just do it for 2025. Do it for every year after that as well. And I promise you, you'll start to see your brand do better and better over time the more consistent you stay with it and do what works for you. Because notice I say what works for you because different things work for different people, but you have to do a lot to find out what works for you. And that's key. Do what works for you. All right. I hope y'all like this video. I'm going to keep these shorts because, like I said, I'm doing a 3-part series. So this is just part 1 in that series. So I'm going to keep these short, telling you what you should do in 2025 to make sure your brand blows up. And I hope y'all like this. Do me a favor. Comment what y'all think I should add if you're a brand owner, what you think other brand owners should be doing. Also, do me a favor and like this video. That's very important.